Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the CruitCast. I'm Jason Sukamel, joined by Cole Patterson. As always, Cole, hey, let's promote our wonderful sponsor, Prime Shrimp. You see them up there at the top. Promo code OrangeBloods30. Use that promo code. Go to primeshrimp.com. Use that promo code. Get 30% off your order of 6 or more packets of delicious, easy cleanup, quick restaurant quality prime shrimp. Go to primeshrimp.com. Stock up, folks. Stock up for the summer.
Good.
Like the video. Yeah. Subscribe to our channel. Do all those cool things that help us grow this channel and keep bringing you guys more videos. Cole, it's not the most newsworthy week, right? Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
we got a few guys we want to talk about. Guys I've talked to, a couple guys you saw yesterday or last night, some big time power players, if you will. So let's start with that, man. Let's start with your trip out to Duncanville for their spring game. Obviously, Colin Simmons is the guy everybody wants to hear about. Alex January. Listen, that Duncanville roster is loaded, but those are the two main guys in the 2024 class. I'm going to hand off to you, man. Let me, in fact, you and I haven't really talked that much other than, hey, Colin set up his Texas official visit. You put that on Orange Bloods last night. So I'm going to sit back and just listen and soak it up like the viewers of the CruitCast. So fill me in on what you heard from those guys last night at the Duncanville spring game.
Yeah, I talked with Colin after the spring game. He has a great personality. You know, whenever you get to talk to him in person, he's all smiles. He's always laughing and all of that. And he was in high spirits after the spring game, as you might expect. It was funny because him and his I don't know if they were his relatives or a couple of little kids, could be his cousins or brothers or whatever. They're all playing shadow boxing and they beat Colin there. And he was complaining how they all triple teamed him. That was funny. And they all had their phones and acting like they were recording him as well as we were doing the interview. So it was a fun little moment. But talking about Colin, he set up 3 official visits for the month of June. He taking that Texas OV on that last weekend in June, the 23rd, 25th. That's when they're bringing all their top guys on campus. That's their big weekend. They've kind of circled. And they're bringing in, I believe, Corian Gibson, Kobe Black, Jordan Johnson, Ravel. All their top guys seems to be coming in for that weekend. So getting him in.
Hey, real quick, I talked to Trey Owens, Cole. He told me that he's expecting them to have 23 recruits in that weekend. So, yeah,
really?
It's going to be a monster weekend. But anyways, sorry to interrupt you. But, yeah, go ahead.
They're laying out the red carpet for sure for that weekend. And, Colin kind of admitted there's not a lot he needs to know about Texas. He kind of already knows what he needs to know. He knows about everything that they have to offer pretty much. He has a good relationship with the staff. But he said he still wants to get another look at Texas. They obviously are pretty high on his list. And he's looking for what they bring out for him on that official visit. He said that they still are telling him they have a lot more to sell, and he wants to see how he kind of fits in the defense, get another look at the players that he would be around, the recruits and everything like that. He'll also be officially visiting Miami, I believe that June 9th, I believe that is, and then Oregon right before Texas. So those are 3 OVs he has set up then. He also told me he'll probably officially visit Alabama for that Texas game, so that's another look he'll get at the Longhorns. LSU, he wants to visit there for the Florida game. And then A&M, he says, still chipping away. He visited there in March, and that kind of allowed them to surge a little bit in his recruitment. No OV set up right now, but they're another team to watch for an official visit. But I continue to like where Texas sits right now. I don't know if I'd say they're the team to beat, but I think they're right up there with the rest of the pack. I think it's them and LSU kind of towards the top, and then those other schools trying to, jockey for position as well. But yeah, he told me he knows everything he needs to know about Texas, but still looking forward to getting back down there.
Did he mention anything about a Georgia visit, Cole? I'm surprised Georgia wasn't brought up.
He said Georgia's kind of fallen off. There's not a lot of contact either way there.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
What is Georgia thinking? Yeah, right.
It sounds like Alabama's kind of replaced Georgia in that mix. He said Alabama's the one team, unlike Georgia, that's continuing to stay in contact and push for him. But yeah, I expect that. We asked about Georgia as well, so I was kind of surprised to hear that they were involved.
I would have thought if you'd asked me before your conversation with them, I would have thought Texas, LSU, and maybe Georgia kind of is that third team. So maybe in Alabama, which is, hey, man, if you're a Texas or LSU fan, Georgia or Alabama are probably equally worrisome.
Yeah.
A&M, you and I've talked about it. I fully expect Colin to take more than 5 visits, so A&M
Yeah.
will probably get a visit. In your opinion, Cole, should Texas be a little bit worried that LSU and Bama are getting visits in the fall? They're going to get the later crack at him. I mean, Texas can always get him down for an unofficial visit, of course, but Texas is taking their shot early, where it sounds like Alabama and LSU are going to wait till later in the process. I mean, do you think that benefits one over the other, or not really?
I can see both sides to it. I think Texas making that weekend their big weekend is in getting him in is big. They obviously made that a priority. So it's not like he's visiting maybe like beginning of June or some random weekend. Like he's coming in for that weekend they've circled. So I think that's pretty important. And it's interesting because it seems like Nick Saban and Alabama don't really like to host prospects during the season. I remember there was talk that Derek Williams was going to take an OV during the season. That never really came to fruition. Obviously, Colin Simmons, he's top defensive player in the country. There's some exceptions that could be made, but I'm curious to see if that visit does get made in September or if he has no timeline. Maybe he takes that into December. But
and Duncanville's probably going to be playing, late into the playoffs, so it doesn't leave him a lot of free weekends. Yeah,
for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of maneuvers all of that. Obviously, if Alabama and LSU are involved, you're always worried. Alabama, it's hard to beat Nick Saban. LSU is always a team that's been towards the top of his recruitment. He's there for their spring game as well. So I see both sides to it. But I think Texas getting him in for the weekend they want to get him in is more important than anything else.
Yeah, and they're going to have so many talented guys around him. Micah Hudson. I mentioned Trey Owens, their quarterback commitment. They'll have a bunch of other Alex January's teammate will be there, which would be a nice segue. Hey, I'll be curious. You mentioned like Texas. You said Texas has told him, hey, we still have a lot of things we want to show you and unveil. I'll be curious to see. I bet Texas will have some tricks up their sleeve whenever Colin and those other guys are on campus. But specifically for Colin, I'll be curious to see what kind of, maybe new wrinkles or new angles. I mean, what more can you really tell a guy like Colin Simmons? Hey, here's our facilities. Here's the stadium. Here's our academic stuff. I mean, he and his mom have already been there and seen all this, and they've been told how much they love him and how much they want him. So, I mean, they're going to have to come up with some interesting new wrinkles. We talked about Alex January, his teammate, defensive lineman up there at Duncanville, another top Texas target. His dad obviously played at Texas. He'll be visiting that same weekend. Alex is interesting to me, man, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Cole, after you talk to him. Like, I think Texas fans, ever since Texas offered, are like, oh, he's going to Texas just because of his family connections to Texas. And I'd probably put my money on Texas just because logically that's, seems to be the thing. But I don't know, man. Every time I've talked to him or people close to him, I genuinely get the impression he's pretty open and genuinely undecided. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading it, but I don't get the impression he's a Texas lock. I think Texas is in a great spot, but I still think there's work to be done there. You got to talk to him last night, Cole. Your thoughts after talking to Alex January at the Duncanville spring game?
Yeah, he obviously mentioned his dad. He also talked to me how his mom is the one that keeps wanting to go back down to Austin. Always asking when the next trip down to Texas will
He's
be.
got a brother at UT also. I mean, everything about it makes sense, but he's still doing his due diligence.
Yeah. So there's a lot of family influences there. It was interesting. He said he wanted to take an OV to Miami, but his mother or somebody in his family, I don't know if it was mom or somebody in his family, kind of knocked that down, kind of too far from home. He laughed that, it's only a plane flight away, so he didn't really understand. But it seems like he's a very family-oriented guy that wants to kind of stay closer to home. In my opinion, it's going to be like a two-team race, maybe three. With Texas obviously being in there, Oklahoma is very much in there, and he mentioned LSU is another team that's making a push for him as well. Florida State might get an official visit, which is funny because if you can't, Miami's also in Florida, so it's not exactly like Florida State, it's a short drive away either. But he mentioned them potentially getting an OV. Texas Tech is in the mix there as well, but in the end, I think it's a 2 or 3 team race. He's excited to get back up to Oklahoma as well as Texas. LSU, like I said, it's making a push for him. And really all those Duncanville players, Caden Durham, Colin Simmons, Kadavian Dotson, you rarely see package deals, so to speak, but that's a scenario where I could see at least 2 or 3, maybe potentially all 4 if things fall right going to the same school and be at LSU. But at the end of the day, I do think Texas and Oklahoma are kind of the top 2 teams in his recruitment. Like I said, it's far from a lock. But when push comes to shove, it's hard for me to see him going anywhere but Texas. Maybe I could see a situation, where it's like Vosick committing to Oklahoma early and then flipping, something like that. But on signing day, as of right now, I have a hard time seeing him sign anywhere but Texas. But as you mentioned, I mean, that's not to call him a lock or say they're the runaway leader by any means. It's kind of, reading the tea leaves and kind of, looking at the logic and family connections. But I do think Oklahoma is very much right in the mix.
Yeah, you mentioned LSU. Like, I don't think there's any kind of package deal necessarily, but boy, It does feel like LSU might has a chance to clean up at Duncanville, right? With some of these guys that we've talked about. And hey, don't mention this to Alex January, but Dallas and Miami are both American airline hubs, so it's pretty easy to get from Dallas to Miami, right? There's like a million flights going back and forth there, but hey, we'll keep it.
Yeah, quick flight away.
Yeah, exactly. So, Cole, hey, a couple guys I wanted to mention that I talked to just this week. A couple out of state. Well, I talked to Trey Owens, the Texas quarterback commit, and he'll be in for his official visit. I posted a story on Orange Bloods today. The most interesting thing from Trey, they just finished their spring season, and he felt like he had a great spring and said he's really focused on running the ball more and throwing on the run and showing that aspect of his game. But we were talking about his official visit, and he goes, I'm pretty stoked for that official visit on the 23rd. And he kind of slyly, he said, hey, man, I'm expecting some commitments too. And we talked about some names. I'm not going to say who they are because he and I talked about that stuff in confidence off the record. But there's some guys he's watching and guys, frankly, that I probably would have been watching anyways. But, yeah, there's a couple guys that Trey thinks might pop during that official weekend. A guy that I thought was interesting, I just talked to him this week. He's at a St. John Bosco out in California. DeAndre Moore, the Texas freshman receiver, same school. Kamori House is a linebacker out of Bosco, the number 1 program in the country, high school program. Texas just offered him last week. He set up a Texas official visit. He'll be coming in, I think it's the 16th of June. Had a really good interview with him. I'll have that in the war room tonight. And he kind of, he didn't use the dreaded words like Texas is my dream school, but he said, hey, man, Texas is a school that I really grew up watching. I just always kind of been fond of them and their colors and just the aura of Texas football. So I think Texas has a really good shot there. Notre Dame's a school that's in play, Oregon, some others. Another one, Ty Anthony Smith, I talked to, another linebacker, the young man out of Jasper. We've talked about Ty Anthony a bunch. He is coming in for his official visit. I'm looking. He had to juggle his schedule. I need to go through and update our Rivals profile. But he's the weekend he was going to be in, that weekend of the 23rd. He's actually going to be on a cruise with his family, so he had to move his visits up. So he's got. I'm trying to remember who it is he has on the 16th, and I'm sorry I don't have that information in front of me. Okay, I think it's USC on the 16th, and then he comes back. That's on a weekend. Then on Monday he goes to Oklahoma for 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, and then he goes to Texas like Wednesday through Friday. So it's boom, 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 and he's got 3 big visits coming up. Ty Anthony's interesting, man, because there was a time when I thought Texas was a clear team to beat. Then Texas kind of fell off. The contact fell off a little bit. Texas dipped down. Now I think Texas is surging again there. But he really likes USC. He really likes Oklahoma. He really likes A&M. To the point about a month ago, I mean, he and I were talking, and Texas was a little bit behind USC and A&M. He said things have kind of leveled off now on his kind of pecking order because he's been talking to Texas more. But, that's going to be a key, really 1-2 week stretch for Ty Anthony Smith, the linebacker out of Jasper. So, Cole, we've got this weekend coming up. It's Memorial Day weekend. My son's graduating. A lot of kids, around the state, around the country are graduating. Everybody can enjoy this weekend. And then it's full-blown pedal to the metal recruiting. The month of June is going to be crazy with camps and Texas having some 2025 guys come in. Obviously, we'll have official visitors every single weekend. So it's going to be a busy month of June. So everybody buckle up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be one thing after another. It's not much downtime,
No.
especially in June.
In fact, my wife and I were talking. I don't remember what about. She mentioned something in June, like, "Hey, honey, you're not going to see much of me in June. I'm going to be super busy. So I will see you in July, honey. You and the kids have a good month of June." But,
Something else will pop up in July too.
yeah, something will be here. You're exactly right. You got State 7-on-7. In fact, Cole, Rivals is having an event in Atlanta that I've booked my flights for already. So it's we say it all the time, man. Recruiting never stops, man. But Cole, let's put a wrap on this one, man. I appreciate you had some really good intel. Always good to talk. Colin Simmons, Alex January.
We'll have some more. Yeah, not to interrupt. I'm just gonna say we have some more on. We'll have some work on Colin, Alex, Sal Reyes out of Soto in the War Room. So if you want to check that out, we'll have that tonight.
Yeah, should be a good war room. I think we're gonna have some good hoop stuff in there. Should be a pretty good war room. So everybody check that out on orangebloods.com tonight. Before you do that, while you're waiting for that to come out, go to Prime Shrimp, get primeshrimp.com, use that promo code OrangeBloods30. Load up, man. Stock your freezer. It's money back guarantee if you don't love it, but you will love it. But go ahead and stock up. It's cheap, it's fast, it's delicious, it's easy cleanup, it's awesome. There's nothing negative about Prime Shrimp. So go to primeshrimp.com, promo code OrangeBloods30. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, do those things, help us grow this channel. And most importantly, everybody have a good and safe holiday weekend. We thank you as always for your time. We'll be back next week to talk a little bit more recruiting, whatever's on tap for next week, probably previewing some official visits. Reiner Swanson, the big tight end from California, is coming in that first weekend. So we'll be talking about him and whatever else pops up. So everybody have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it now.